Okay. Thank you very much for your Royal Highness for this very insightful presentation. I think your reputation precedes you in the sense that many of us in Northern Nigeria are aware of the facts that you've always been walking the talk. You have it in Gombe, led by example, by giving concrete expression to all of the issues surrounding this debate, by taking firm action to implement the programs of Almajiranci in Gombe. Thank you. Our next guest is His Royal Highness, the Emir of Dutse, Sarki Nu Muhammadu Sanusi. Allah ya ba sarki lafiya. Allah ya ba sarki nasara. Born on 27 December 1944 into a highly disciplinarian family, Alhaji Sanusi was awarded an honorary doctorate degree by the Federal University of Technology of Owerri. He attended Dutse Primary School and Birnin Kudu Senior Primary School between 1952 and 1959. Thereafter, he was admitted to the Kano Teachers College, later gained admission to Advanced Teachers College and Ahmadu Bello University in 1967. His unquenching thirst for greater excellence, coupled with his parents' unbridled encouragement, saw him enrolling into Ohio University in the United States, where he obtained a BSc Business Education with high honors in 1972, and from the same university an MBA in 1974. Thereafter, he capped it all with another MSc in Project Analysis Evaluation from Bradford University in England in 1977. In the late 1970s, when I graduated from Ahmadu Bello University, I joined the New Nigeria Development Company. And my first assignment was to be posted to the Nigerian Agricultural Promotions Company, a subsidiary of NNDC, where Alhaji Sanusi presided as my boss. What a phenomenal and fantastic boss. I owe so much to him. His unquenching desire for greater excellence, coupled with his parents' unbridled encouragement, saw him enrolling to Ohio University, like I said. And he's a widely recognized royal who traveled to more than 80 countries around the globe. He was elected member of the Constituent Assembly in 1989. At the traditional level, he doubly served most credibly as a district head of Dutse and senior counselor in the Emir Council between 1992 and 1995. Within 2 years in office, he set up a strong team of selected councillors under the senior councillor, Bashir Muhammad Sanusi, to access and collect zakah throughout the Emirate, built a befitting central mosque in the city, rebuilt the old palace, renovated the palace Jumat Mosque, and constructed a new palace at Sumori. May I ask His Royal Highness to please present his paper? Thank you.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Your Highness, and the other distinguished members of the panel. I'm highly delighted to be in this webinar and chaired by a very renowned economist that I have learned so much from during his NYSC in my office, and later on we worked, he became the managing director of NNDC itself. He's a highly recognized and highly intellectual person. I want to take just a little time. I want to summarize what the panelists have said earlier. It all boils to economic survival. And most of these schools, or Sangaya schools and the rest, are trying to survive economic hardship. So parents who cannot sustain their children find easier way to send their children to Quranic school elsewhere so that they can reduce the burden of, accommodation and boarding. Other issues are the social recognition. If you don't have a good Islamic education, you are not recognized in your community. So most people will have to send their children, the all product of these schools. And we see why our parents insisted that we have to go to Quranic schools before we join the whatever we want to do. And the third is that I want to thank the academicians in this panel, is that our definition of Islamic education is still very vague. We have different definition of what constitutes Islamic education. So I think we have to define that later on. But I want to agree with His Highness Emir of Gombe that we have to do our best from our resources. And the first thing we have to look into is the training of teachers. Many of the teachers of Quranic schools in my emirate, many of them do not even cannot recite properly with tajweed. They cannot recite Quran. Two, they don't have any formal education. Maybe some of them have 3 or 4 or his in their head. And then because they have to survive, they create a school. And they enroll children, particularly from rural areas where the economic system is not functioning very well. So they bring them to the cities and towns to beg. So if we have a proper training program for teachers, and these teachers have to have recognized certificates before they will be allowed to teach in Quranic schools, particularly those that are roaming the nomadic schools. These teachers need to have a proper qualification certificate. They have to also pass the set of tajweed tests, because what is happening now, you find that even some of them we find that they don't even, they read in the Quran in Hausa language or in Kanuri or in other things. So that is very important. The age limitation as suggested by His Highness, the Emir of Gombe, is very important. We find in our midst many children that are begging are under the age of 5. This is child abuse. No matter what you say, it is child abuse, and the children under a certain age should not be taken away from their mothers, particularly if they are left now in the hands of their peers to train them. And this is where we have all sorts of problems, particularly in the upbringing of the children. If nobody is to train or to lead them, they are left by their peers to give them whatever education they have. That is, teach them how to fight, how to disobey leaders, how to disobey parents, and how to do all sorts of things. And the worst thing that we have experienced is the abuse of the children sexually. Many of these children, some of them are sexually abused because they are looking for food. And this is not something that we should encourage. So we have to have a system that will reduce the burden of parents, certainly, because they have a reason for sending them to school, but also we have to monitor them properly. And I think we have established in Dutse, particularly in my palace, we have experimented for the last 20 years with this system. And we incorporated schools on the basis of Zangaya. And we don't even provide, Manan Nasr will say about it later, we don't have even desks or chairs. They are sitting in a room, in a cycle, and they've been reciting Quran. And we find that within 3-4 years, children will graduate with proper tajweed, with some knowledge of fiqh, with some knowledge of hadith and others. And this is being done, and I invite everybody to come and see what we do. And even within our central mosque, we have that graduated many of these young children. Some of them are now PhD holders. Some are professionals, economists, doctors, and so forth from this kind of education. So, Chairman, I want to thank you for inviting me. There's so much to say, but maybe in the future we'll write up to the panel possibly. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. Thank you.
We would like to thank you fervently for this wonderful presentation. I think participants would agree that when you take these presentations together, that of the Emir of Gombe and that of the Emir of Dutse, you're really looking at honorable people who are custodians of our traditions and our social values, who are very close to the needs and aspirations of our people. And in both cases, we've heard presentations that are, aimed towards identifying and diagnosing the problems, and also coming up with practical solutions, despite the enormous amount of resource constraints that they have, and despite all of the institutional strictures that surround them. We'd like to thank you very much.